What's happening, everybody? It's Tuesday night. It's Proper Royals Live. Don't turn away or fast forward for once in the cold open. I got something useful for you. I made a new intro this week. It's still a draft. It's not quite done yet. I'm not going to spoil it. I got to finish a couple things off, and I'm actually glad I did a test run. I saw some video that didn't quite work, but you're going to get a little sneak peek for hanging out on time tonight. So thanks for being here. Let's get to it.
Everybody wants the outcome. Very few will go through the process.
When you think about someone living their dream, I am living my dream.
If your business model isn't working, you've got to change your model.
You might be all by yourself on that route, but the view's pretty damn good from there.
Stop chasing other people's dreams. Make your own.
When the going gets weird, the weird turn pro.
How fun is that, huh? I'm enjoying it. Let me know what you think of it. Like I say, I see some video tweaks that didn't quite work. I don't know if that's a StreamYard problem or if that is my editing problem. It's probably more what it is. I also realize it's really loud, and I didn't give you a heads up on that. I'm sorry about that. I will level out that volume on there. But I thought it was cool. I got some cool quotes from episodes. Those are actually recordings of people on the show and like cool insights and things that I've gotten to learn along the way. And then I just got to put some fun pictures that make me happy to see as well. So anyway, let me know what you think of it. And yeah, there we go. I hadn't made a new intro in like 3.5 years. It was a little outdated, man. I used to make a new intro for every like new advertiser I got, and I used to sell ad spots for like a single episode. So for like the little amount of money that I would get for advertising, I would have to do a whole new thing. And I think that's why I stopped. I know that's why I stopped doing that model, but I think it's why I stopped making intros altogether. It's actually a lot of work to mix all that crap together. Anyhow, I'll mess with it. I had fun with it. It was a fun distraction this week when I probably should have been doing other more important things. But I did need, I needed a new intro, and I'm a huge believer that you cannot just get complacent. You turn into a dinosaur and then you go extinct if you think that everything you're doing will be good enough for forever. It's like Neil Young said, better to burn out than to fade away. Like you gotta keep up at it, keep it going. And I think Neil Young's like 80 now. He's done okay. He didn't burn out or fade away. So anyway, good evening. Welcome to Proper Royals Live. If we haven't met before, I do this every Tuesday night. I often have a guest. I don't have a guest tonight. It's just me tonight. And I got to give you an update. I promised on the thumbnail the topics of the masters and the people. But then I promised I was going to talk about hybrids. A cool thing happened. I post that thumbnail. I always wonder if people like look at that on Instagram. And I get a note from Matt Miller in the Philippines, who is known for burn balls and is known for hybrids. He says, "Hey, I'd love to come on your show sometime and talk about hybrids." And I'm like, why would I talk about hybrids tonight if I can have one of the guys himself on the show? I do have some concerns. I have some questions about hybrids, but he came in really good faith and good conversation. So there's a time difference. I've invited him to be here next week. I don't know if his schedule will allow him to be here next week. Either way, I am going to save the hybrids conversation until Matt can come on the show, and we'll have the conversation then. So I got a little update. We'll talk hatchlings instead of hybrids. How about that? I make like a bunch of these little like topics that are coming to my mind during the week or whenever, and I write them down. So I had one I could switch out. And tentatively, hopefully Matt will be here next week. But if not, like I say, he hasn't made, it's not, all I did was invite him. There's a time difference in the Philippines. So we'll see. I should know tomorrow, but just stay tuned on the channel. So little topics change there. Thanks to everybody for being here in the chat. The only thing I don't like about these solo shows is trying to engage the camera, so I'm not just staring down the whole time, but then also trying to see the to see the comments. All right. Thank you for the compliment there, Nick. I appreciate that. Yeah, the editing, I enjoy the editing. It reminds me of like there's an art to it. Like I can't create all of those sounds, but if I can get the sounds, then I can mix them together, and it's pretty cool. And I enjoy the process. I enjoy editing, probably too much because I waste a lot of time saying, "Oh, I'm being productive," when I'm not necessarily. Chris, what's going on, man? Everybody go check out Words Not Deeds at thefatmannation.com. There's a bunch of cool tiers that you can donate to. This is to benefit veterans in Camp Freedom, getting veterans back out. I know it sounds really hippie to say out into nature, getting veterans out to be able to do things that they wouldn't normally otherwise be able to do because of disabilities that were caused in service to our country. How about that? They go hunting, they go hiking, they go fishing, they go camping, all of that cool stuff. This is a very cool fundraiser. And Chris, give me a heads up. Where are we at on the goal? How far are we on the goal, man? You could go to thefatmannation.com and donate. There are different tiers you could donate at. Or think about this. You could skip your coffee in the morning and donate $5 or $10. You could, skip that drink at the bar tonight, or just skip one of the drinks at the bar tonight and donate $10. You get my point. Bunch of you see this. Bunch of people give $5, $10. A whole lot gets accomplished because a lot of hands make a little work, or whatever the expression is. Go check out fatmannation.com for that. All right. What else we got going on? Jen, how are you? I hope that you're well. I know I'm missing some people in here. DNA Reptilia, what's happening? Yeah, sorry, I got a little allergies or something all of a sudden. Okay, enough of the quiet dead air looking at the comments. I will read the, what did I say? Did I say words, not deeds? Deeds, not words. Did I say that? Deeds, not words, right? Deeds, not words too. Deeds, not words. Good Lord. Okay. Okay. So the campaign, I was going to say I have not done anything. The campaign is at 7,000 out of 10,000, 70% of the way there, with the goal to, by July, I think July 4th, but maybe the end of July. Anyway, sooner than later, to get the other 3,000. I have donated. Go check it out. Even if you leave, you could come watch us on the replay and all that good stuff. That's where I get most of the views anyway. Or write yourself a little note, or make yourself do it, or whatever it is. Go give a little love there. And forget whatever I called it the first time. Deeds, not words, too. Okay. And yes, it is going to get to the 10,000. I'm sure of it. Yeah. Pony up, chumps. That's right. You can give a little bit, there we go. That's a good cause. And I like good causes, and Chris is awesome at heading those up. So let me see here. I'm pretty stoked. I got the new, actually, first off, check out the banner right there. Vision Racks and Cages. The new rodent Versa racks are shipping, and I get mine tomorrow, according to FedEx, which is pretty cool. I'm pretty excited about that. So you'll be seeing all sorts of content about the new rodent Versa racks. If you haven't seen any of the details, go to visionproducts.us is the website. Yeah, that's what we call it these days, a website. And I don't know. You can also check out my video from Tinley that does a deep dive into some of the new innovations that they put into the Versa rack for rodents. If you liked the innovations on the Ultra racks, but maybe the Ultra racks were just a little out of your league, or out of my league, so to speak, the Versa racks now have a whole lot of those innovations, which is pretty cool. While you're there, check out the Visionariums. It's like Visionariums are like tubs meet terrariums. This isn't even long before I was working with Vision, and I saw those prototypes at Tinley. I was like, that is going to be an industry disruptor. Check them out. You'll see what I'm talking about. Tons of innovation from Vision. I like how they're always evolving, always growing, always innovating. So every time you turn around, they're doing something new and something cool. So stay tuned for some content on that stuff. While I'm giving shout outs to promoters, go check out Redline Shipping. Redline Shipping, Focus. Come on now. There we go. That's the cool effect we're looking for. Redline Shipping, the best customer service in the shipping game. One of the few shipping companies with a phone number you can actually call, talk to an actual human being who is an actual reptile owner and enthusiast and a shipping expert. Redlineshipping.com has all of your shipping supplies, shipping information. And if you have questions about as temperatures change or as temperatures fluctuate and how to ship your animal safely, give them a call. You'll also have a resource for if there's ever any delays, boots on the ground in Memphis to help you out as well with contacts and FedEx. So go check out Redline Shipping. Use the promo code PROPER5. Get yourself $5 off of your next shipping label. Yeah, clowning around pythons, the only people I go through. Look at that. This, I don't have this information. This is not anything I can back up. Well, I could back up with evidence from what my eyes see, but this wasn't from Redline. So this is my own conclusion or my own speculation. Let's put it that way. Have you done price comparisons lately? They're pretty darn close and their service is off the chart. It might be worth $1 or $2 or $3 or whatever it is, the little difference for you. If you haven't checked in a while, go check it out and use that proper 5 to make up the difference on that first time. Go check it out and see how that is. Anyhow, thanks for supporting Redline. Robin has done phenomenal things both for the industry and for Proper Royals. So I'm particularly thankful for that. I'll let you know how the Vision racks go. That's really what I had started that segment on. What do you guys think of this? I had a guy, I don't know if it'll ever happen. This is a really, really long shot, and I won't make the whole episode about this. Somebody approached me about buying the car wash and me keeping a 10-year, $1 free, but $1 for contractual purposes lease on my reptile space. At the right price, right? I don't know if that'll happen, but that got my mind going. That's pretty fun. Pretty fun thought right there. We'll see how that pays out, or if it ever pays out. Stay tuned. That'll be a long, slow evolving story. I think maybe I'll do an episode on creative business. It's going to take a little bit of creative financing and agreements between that guy and myself, but that would be interesting. Yeah, a whole $1 for me. My lease would be $1. I'm not going to charge him. No, he's going to buy the car wash and he's going to lease my reptile space to me for 10 years for $1. That's the deal. I said, I don't want the car wash. I want my reptile space. He said, what about a 10-year lease for $1? And at the end of 10 years, we can renegotiate or you can get out. And I was like, that sounds pretty good. I kind of like that. All right, let's see announcements. A little bit less than 3 weeks. I finally have another. Yeah, well, Jen, you're right. Check him out to see if they're up to my standards. If he buys the building and the check clears, I really don't care if he's up to my standards or not. I'll have nothing to do with the car wash. The check clearing will cure all standards issues. I by and large, I do know him. I have done business with the guy. I'll let it be. I don't know who watches the show or not. This is I don't even think he's talked to his wife yet. So, but somebody did approach me about that. So kind of neat, kind of interesting. Yeah, that's true. You do have the neighbor thing. I do get that. He is somebody that I do business with currently. So I'll leave it there for right now. I'm intrigued. Like I say, it's a super long shot. He wasn't like, hey, I've got the check and I'm going to buy it outright. Like I say, this will take some partnering and creative financing that I have to decide if I want to get into or not. So we'll see. Anyhow, more on that, but that just happened today. I was like, man, that's pretty cool. Sunday, May 31st, I'm back to vending in person again, which I'm excited about. Snake Discovery Show. That's Ed and Emily's show. This one will be in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. Interesting bit of trivia. That is at a curling club. You know what curling is? The stones and the broom and no, not skates, whatever. They're on ice. It's at a curling club rink. Anyway, Hey, they found the venue. I do well at the show. I enjoy the show. It's been there for years, so no problem. But Eau Claire, Wisconsin, the curling club, I can't even say it. The curling club is the venue for the Snake Discovery Show. I'll be vending there May 31st. Come out and see me. Then June, I'm just thinking off the top of my head, I believe it's June 6th and 7th or 7th and 8th, I will be in La Crosse, Wisconsin, and then Madison, Wisconsin the next day. So 2-day back-to-back. I just hit the road and treat it like a 2-day weekend show would be, except I just travel between the 2 hours between the shows that evening. And then the following weekend, which would be like the 15th or so, I'll be back in Minneapolis at the Cold Blooded Expos show, which I'm excited for, and that's here at the Minnesota State Fairgrounds. So I'll do 4 shows in 3 weeks, starting pretty soon. So I'm excited to get back to that. Hope to see you out there somewhere. Like I say, next week, I'm working on Matt Miller being on the show. His brand name is Eternal Morphs, and he is out of the Philippines. He's a Canadian in the Philippines breeding hybrids and ball pythons. So that's like a whole show right there. That's a pretty intriguing content. Hopefully he can make it next week, but if not, he will be on soon. So there we go. Let me see. With any money. Yeah. The money spent is final. Yeah. This would either be I hold, what do they call it? A contract for deed or deed for contract. I would hold the note or a rent to own. But yeah, the responsibility and the liability would be on him. I would hold, foreclosure rights on any of this. So we'll see. I got to find out how it goes. Yeah. I almost made a joke about the Olympics. Don't you love how every 4 years we all become experts on like curling or diving? Like all of a sudden we're like, look at the splash. His feet didn't go in straight. That's an 8.2. Yeah, exactly. Curling does exist, especially in places like Wisconsin. I suspect it exists here in Minnesota too, but this is at a club in Wisconsin. I keep seeing everybody saying Kike's name. I did not see the comment. Yeah, Aurora knows about the curling club. It's a cool venue. And it's packed. They pack it in there. Anyhow, I don't know where you're at. I didn't see your comment there, Kike. My best to you and your family. I hope you're doing well. You've always been an awesome supporter, and I always love seeing you when you pop into the chat, my man. Hope to see you again sometime soon. So let me see. The topics tonight, a couple of weeks ago, I had written a show and was going to do a solo show. And then Mark Mandick said, hey, why don't I come hang out tonight and talk about scramblers? So I scrapped the whole show. I was like, I'll get to it later. But during that time, that's when the Masters tournament was going on. And a week before that, Stephen from Leviathan Snakes, I had commented about things that I had done in my career or something with something or other. And he commented, didn't you turn down working at the Masters? And that is entirely true. It actually happened twice. The first time was more of a pure scheduling conflict. I had a client in Jacksonville, Florida, and I had committed to being on site for them before there was any contact with the Masters. And I couldn't do it. I needed to honor what I said I was going to do, which is, I suppose, a good story in itself. But that's not the exciting one or the interesting one. The second one was in the spring of 2024. We had just moved here to Minnesota 6 months earlier. We moved to Minnesota in September of 2023. Masters is in, I think it's in April or late March, somewhere in there, 2024. And so what happens at these golf tournaments, those of y'all that don't know, I used to work for the PGA Tour and run restaurants at TPC Sawgrass, and that was the home of the Players Championship. And what happens is these golf course tournaments where you get hundreds of thousands, if not literally millions of people over the course of a week, obviously the operation changes incredibly for that 1 week, so much so that we had a 51-week a year budget and a 1 week a year budget. So 51 weeks a year was on one budget for the regular business. And then the 1 week budget was the Players Championship. And what we would do is you would just break down like every room, every area, every little thing into its own venue. And then you find venue managers that will run all of those. And in a company like the PGA Tour that has, at the time, I haven't worked for the PGA Tour since 2012, so 14 years now. But we had like 22 clubs in the network of PGA Tour clubs. So you could call up directors and bar managers and maitre d's, et cetera, chefs, banquet managers from throughout the network, and they all come in for that week. Well, the Masters only has one location. So they actually go through kind of a booking agency, just like a venue would book music, of a booking agency. And the booking agent for food and beverage was one of my former colleagues from the PGA Tour. And he's the one that got in touch with me and said, hey, do you want to work at the Masters? Which when you open with that sentence is generally a slam dunk. And so I said to myself, man, I couldn't do it last year. And I turned it down graciously. And I said, call me the next year. Well, in that next year, we moved to Minnesota. Life changed, and I started, the business up here, Proper Royals here in Minnesota, started establishing myself in this market, which is a whole new thing, and tried to get my feet under me and all of that. And he calls, and I'd forgotten all about the Masters. I was like, oh my gosh, I got to go do this. So my wife and I are trying to figure out logistics, and she says to me, why are you doing this? And the conflict was that they were actually, speaking of the Cold Blooded Expo show, it must have been in April because that's when they usually do their Minneapolis show. One of the conflicts was I'd already paid for the Minneapolis Cold Blooded show, but it was the Masters. So I was like, whatever, I'll eat that loss and I'll go work the Masters. And she said to me, what are you trying to do here? What's important? And I said, well, I don't want to turn down the Masters. And she said, did you leave food and beverage, or what benefit would it give you? And I said, well, it'd be cool just to say I did it. She's like, well, either do food and beverage or go build your business that you walked away from food and beverage for. Did you walk away, or are you going to go back to it? Because if you're going to go back to it, you need to quit the reptile stuff and get on with getting back to it. And sure, that'll build your resume. I said, I'm not walking away from reptiles. I got a good thing going here. This ball python Proper Royals thing has got some real steam, and I'm excited to be in a new market. And I think it's a land of opportunity. She says, why are you getting distracted by this thing over here then? I said, it's the Masters. Because it's not useful to you. So maybe it could be. She's like, are you going to make more money at the Masters in that week or at this show this weekend? I said, probably this show this weekend. Are you ever going to need that on your resume? I said, no, it might look nice. She's like, you ran all the restaurants at TPC Sawgrass for the PGA Tour. Is it going to improve your resume any better than that? I said, no, probably not. She says, you do what you want, but you need to figure out what's most important and where you need to focus on. If you're going to do Proper Royals and reptiles and you're in a new market, you need to go get in the new market. If you think you're wrapping it up and it's not worth doing anymore, then sure, go work at the Masters because you're going to need a good job. I said, I know, I don't want another job in food and beverage. And it was one of those cool moments. Like I share that all not because, I'm nifty and I got an offer at the Masters. Everybody's done something cool in their life. And I didn't even do that. So it doesn't even count as something cool. What I'm saying is, A, what's the focus and what are you working towards? B, if you're going to build your business, get everything out of the way and go build your business. If it's a hobby, that's a different story. But like in life, whatever you're building in life, if it's your career, don't get distracted by other crap. Go build it, But the thing that kind of hit home is just how, like, Kelly doesn't clean snakes. She doesn't even step foot in the new facility. Once the snakes were at the car wash, I don't even know that she's been inside the car wash. Actually, the rodents really bother her. She doesn't like that I raise rodents to feed them to snakes. We don't have to debate the ethics of that. We live fine. We're good. But like, it's amazing how supportive somebody can be just by kicking your butt in the right direction. And also by doing that, like, that's my wife. Like, we committed our lives together to each other, and for ourselves in our own marriage, there's no dividing line between hers and mine. And that comes to finance, that comes to parenting, that comes with decision making. It's all equal. There's no, we have to figure it out. Like there's no one person who gets a deciding vote. That's not the case. So we support each other that way. And I'm not saying we do it better or worse. However your relationship works is fine. I'm saying that's how it works here. And so for her to go, is the Masters worth your, like, could you imagine somebody saying, is the Masters worth your time, and actually being right? And it was such a good, like, kick in the pants, and like just such a cool thing. And so my overarching thought is surround yourself with the good people that represent you. And even when they're not like officially the people that represent you, who are going to say the right things to you and kick your butt in the right direction, and know when to listen to those people. Like I could have been just a dumb dude that was like, oh, I'll make the decision. I do this or that. And then what? Missed the show. Things would have probably turned out right. It wasn't nearly as much about whether I actually went to the Masters or I missed the Cold-Blooded Expos show. It was way more about, hey, here's somebody who, like, what a vote of confidence. What a, like, an amazing partner in this life, in this business, in this world do I have, where she just goes, hey, if this is what you're going to do, go put the pedal down and go actually do it. So cool. So that kind of was a story about Kelly, but really it's a story about surrounding yourself with the right people. But if we make it about Kelly, she's a wonderful wife. Happy Mother's Day to her, the mother of Charlie, our son, and definitely a balance, yin to my yang, and in ways you can't imagine. I'm sure my son looks at the two of us and goes, what in the world are you two doing? We love each other. We get along very, very well, but like we are just, our decision-making is different. Our entrepreneurial versus the old mainstream outlooks are completely different. I'm out at punk rock shows at night. She's in bed at 8:15. Yeah. Just all of those things, but really, really cool. And yeah, Bill is exactly right. Yeah. Kelly she just keeps me on track. Yeah, when I needed to hear. And that kind of support is really cool. And I'm fortunate to have that. But you also can find that support. You can look for that in communities. I think Patreons are cool for that. I think just surrounding yourself with people that make good decisions and represent whatever community you're a part of, or represent shared missions, values, goals, that sort of thing, I think is really, really important, And yeah, she's a pretty smart one, man. She is a pretty smart one. So anyway, there you go. There's some food for thought on who you're surrounding yourself with and who represents you, and always, of course, represent yourself. But we've all heard the expression, you sleep with dogs, you get fleas. Well, the opposite is true. You surround yourself with good people and like-minded people, you're going to get to your goals faster. And again, that's from a hobby standpoint. That's from a work standpoint. Life in general standpoint, like go find good people to hang around and to be around. It's it works for teenage, or it should work for, it's what I tell my teenager too, so anyhow, there you go. I think I got everything, but that is my Masters story that I turned down the Masters. It's hatchling season, man. I should have new hatchlings like tomorrow. I think I saw like little slits that were pips, but it's only day 50. I was like, I'm not going to open the eggs on that. And that got me thinking 5 years ago when I was hatching my first clutches, there's no part of me that would have been like, I better hold off on that. What difference is it going to make? I would have been in there on day 50 with a pair of scissors, hacking open those eggs. So I thought I would share some experience. I don't claim it to be wisdom. I don't claim it to be whatever people choose to do to be right or wrong, just my own thoughts and what I do. So somewhere I'm probably approaching 600 to 700 hatchlings that I've hatched, maybe more. I don't keep track. And I love, as much as I love stats and data, I actually don't track that, or I haven't. I could go back and look, I suppose. But I don't track that. I should. Maybe I shouldn't. Doesn't matter. Point being, here's some thoughts that I have on eggs. And when I see stuff like and I don't I don't dump on people in the comments. I don't go, hey, you dummy, that's stupid, do this or that. If I really have something to say, I'll do it kind of privately and send a message, but I usually don't even bother. Like, a lot of people just have to learn things on their own. So let's start at the beginning. When the eggs hatch, or when the eggs land, this comes from like my food and beverage days. Sanitize your hands. Gloves are cool. Here's the thing about gloves. Gloves give people a false sense of security. Let me give you a kitchen example. If you're wearing gloves and you grab a raw piece of chicken and then you touch something else, it doesn't matter that you have gloves on. You're still getting salmonella on that other stuff. Whereas if you have a bare hand that you touch a raw chicken with, and then you wash and sanitize your hands, you can then go touch anything else you want. I'm not saying to grab chicken raw with your bare hands. I like tongs. I can't stand the feeling of raw chicken anyhow on my hands to this day at home. I don't touch raw chicken. I hate it. What I'm saying though is gloves are cool, but not mandatory. Your gloves are only ever as clean as the environment that they're touching is. And if you touch one thing unclean, you got to change the gloves. The other thing is you have to wash your hands in between putting on new gloves. Even if you get a box of sanitary gloves, sterile gloves, and you touch those with dirty hands, the glove isn't sterile anymore. I know this is overthinking it, and I know that people hatch ball python eggs all the time without worrying about this stuff. However, in my mind, I think about cross-contamination. I think about bacterial contamination. Open air has a ton of bacteria and viruses in it. How do you think we get things like pandemics, colds, flus, all of that stuff? There's some other stuff that people get in other ways, but a whole lot of it is just flying around in the air. So I sanitize the egg box with chlorhexidine, and I actually don't even wipe it down. I sanitize it. I put in vermiculite. You could use I'm not telling you how to make your egg boxes. I'm saying from a sanitary standpoint, I do it as fast as I can, and I sanitize it at the last second before I put the eggs in there. Once I put the eggs in, I seal it with the press and seal, and then I don't open it until they have pipped. I know a lot of people are like, you got to open the eggs, you got to brush off the eggs, you got to burp the eggs. What are you doing? All you're doing is letting in new bacteria, new spores, new things that now that the sanitizer is worn off or isn't as effective or has done its sanitizing, you're letting a whole new stream of stuff in there. And look, I know that eggs go bad. I know that stuff happens, but I don't think anything, or people candling eggs in the middle of incubation, that's not going to change anything. That's not going to change the outcome of what's inside that egg. All you're doing is introducing new variables for some sort of entertainment, which does make good content, but aren't you breeding animals that are more important than a neat piece of content of you candling a snake egg? That's my only thought of it. Now, if it's right before you cut it, that's a different story. It's already developed and it's in there. But I just think that humans fiddle with too much stuff. You know what I mean? Like we always feel like we got to be doing something or getting into something. Put those eggs in there, do it right, trust the process, do the process right, and leave those eggs alone, man. And it's hard. I know we're excited when we're first starting, man. My first couple seasons, man, I'm watching by like day 51. I think I see an egg moving and I'm like, that's it. I'm going to cut into it. Here's the other thing that I've discovered. And this is even as recently as last year that I had to remind myself that I've come to this conclusion. If an individual egg, I used to say I'll cut on like day 53 because they're going to stay in the egg and continue developing. I think what happens for most of us, look, if you're Billy Rose and you've hatched tens of thousands of snakes and you know through the number of reps and life experience of what an egg that's ready to cut looks like, by all means, that's not who I'm talking to right now. I'm talking to the people like myself that have been at this a few years, a handful of years. when we cut and we see blood, we say, well, we didn't cut the snake. That's no big deal. They're still using those veins. Like that's still, I don't know the biology of it. Maybe the Harbins could straighten me out if they see this episode or if they're watching. But the yolk, the umbilical cord, and those veins are all still tied together. They're not there for decoration. So even if it's like a little bit of nutrients that it misses out on, no big deal most of the time, sure. But the interesting thing, I see a ton of people post pictures of egg cuttings followed by neonates that don't make it. Could it be related? Is it coincidence? I don't know. I'm just thinking to myself, really the only reason that we cut the eggs is because we're excited about it. And that's okay. I get it. I'm excited too. Today I had to tell myself, don't open that box. If those are little slits that it's pipping, you'll see its head tomorrow. Live out the anticipation again tonight. I had to say that to myself. I get excited. I get it. I know the argument as well of, and I can't see the comments because I'm trying to talk to the camera. I know the argument as well of they could tie a knot in the umbilical cord and we got to untangle them and that sort of thing. Here's my own experience that I know of, because when I have an animal die in the egg, I actually pick it apart and take a pretty good look at what happened. I have cut eggs that I thought the umbilical cord was wrapped around the animal, and I've reached in and I've tried to poke it out and untangle it, and I've done it successfully. I've also done it where I ripped the umbilical cord from the yolk. That didn't work out very well. But the flip side of it is all the animals that I've ever had die in the egg, never once have I seen clear indication that they tied the umbilical cord in a knot and suffocated themselves. Stuff happens with live animals. I think that it's usually far more detrimental to the egg or to that neonate, that hatchling, that unhatched hatchling, to just let it pip. If it's day 56, 57, and the siblings have all pipped, sure, that's the outlier. Go get in there, go check it out. You know, the skill of being able to cut an egg is still useful. What I'm trying to encourage people is don't introduce variables like bacteria, viruses, spores into your eggs by opening them ahead of time. And second, just wait another. I mean, what difference is it going to be if you wait 3 more days, right? And I get the excitement, but you're not going to change the genes. You're not going to change the sex of the animal. None of that. Sit on those eggs. Like I really, really think anything that you could possibly hope to improve by doing any of those things is far outweighed by the detrimental damage you could do by doing those things. So that's my thought on hatchlings. How about that? That's what I think. There you go. Good luck. Yeah, you can pinch it. I just see that most people don't, or a lot of people don't, or they're doing it like, I mean, clearly they're not. I mean, we see them, we see bloody egg picks all the time. So, yeah, I am a very, very big, set it and forget it guy. Yeah, exactly. Gilded scales, the odds might change. They're not going to change. Whatever's in there is in there, man. And so I empathize with the excitement. I have to restrain myself. Again, today in an egg box, it was at day 50 that I'm exceptionally excited about. It's the first ones of the season that are going to hatch first. So that I'm very excited about. But secondly, it's a cool pairing, which by the way, so it's a black pastel pied female who went to my super orange dream scrambler hypo pied male. So I'm hoping to see black pastel orange dream scrambler pieds that are head hypo. Like I'm like to even be saying that out loud, that those could be sitting in my incubator right now, for me, for my experience where I'm at in this this whole odyssey that I'm on, is pretty stinking cool. So I'm pretty stoked about that. Yeah, I generally like I'll cut after some of them have pipped as well. what I found for myself, again, this is all just my own experience, is maybe it's my incubator, maybe there's a warmer spot. The eggs are in rectangles, like egg boxes are in rectangles. So one could be closer to the side or closer to the back, and it got a little bit warmer, even if it's a half a degree or a degree warmer through, the 2 months that it's incubating. I've had some pip and others that I cut that just weren't ready to cut yet, or that had bad results from it. So actually now I try and just wait for each egg to pip before I'll cut it, or at least see the slits. That's just me. Yeah, right. Especially when I'm looking through the glass with my little camera light bulb going. I think I see those. I'm looking through the glass. I'm looking through the egg box. Anyway, we'll see. There's my little hatchling rant. Hopefully, it'll help you out this season, and you can just post content about anxiously waiting. My incubator has these spots where I hit my forehead on it, and it leaves a little, like whatever we have, oil or whatever, that leaves this. It's like a fingerprint except a forehead print. Anyway, there you go. Let me tell you about some people supporting Proper Royals, and then afterwards I'm going to tell you about cutting onions. How about that? That's true. That's coming up. Stick around. B&S Reptilia, that is Chris Shelley out in Pennsylvania. He and I vend Tinley together. He's a trusted partner, somebody who I've gone into business with. He and I vend Tinley together in October. I hope you come out and see us there. But in the meantime, check out B&S Reptilia. Chris is working with not only ball pythons and a very seasoned, experienced ball python breeder. He's also breeding blood pythons, locality, boas, colubrids of all shapes and sizes, including the Pituophis, the bull snakes, and the pine snakes. If you're interested in any of that, go check out Chris. He's got the knowledge and the education to share with you, along with the inventory and the permits or paperwork that you might need, especially for those Pituophis species, and especially here in the Midwest. So go check out Chris. He is the original advertising partner for Proper Royals. All these years later, still supporting. I couldn't be more thankful for the business relationship with Chris. So check out B&S Reptilia. Sundog Serpents, that is Sarah and Josh down in Orlando. Believe it or not, I did some business with them this week. Relationships are awesome. I won't go into the details of it, but somebody was selling something and reached out to me, said, "Hey, do you know anybody that might be interested?" And I said, "You know what? I think Sarah and Josh might be." Connected two people that have never met before. Good business for both parties, and everybody left happy. So I'm thrilled to be able to recommend Sarah and Josh. Sundog Serpents, go check them out. Right now, they are hatching or have hatched TSK zebras and TSK xanthic clowns. They only work with TSK axanthic line, zebras and clowns, and they have some zebra clown TSK ingredients as well. Pretty cool. They got blood pythons hatching, sand boas, and they're working on a ball python project called I think they call them panda pieds, Suma blackhead pieds. Yeah, pretty cool. Go check out Sundog Serpents. That's Sarah and Josh down in Orlando, Florida. Reagan Renee Royal Pythons. I got to talk to Charlie this week. That is Charlie Ryan of Reagan Renee Royal Pythons. Go to ReaganRenee.com. That is his brand's website, ReaganRenee.com. His full inventory is on there. More items than what's on Morph Market. And get this, if you buy at ReaganRenee.com, if you purchase through that website, he's going to ship it to you for free. Pretty cool. Shipping is included on everything on ReaganRenee.com. Secondly, at checkout, if you put in the promo code PROPER10, you're going to get another 10% off of that animal just for supporting Proper Royals. Pretty cool perk, especially from a strong breeder like Charlie, and he's going to ship it to you for free. Also, while you're there, check out the calculators that he has. He works in analytics and production, and he has put together some calculators that will analyze potential financial outcomes per clutch and financial benefit of whether to shed test a clutch or not. You're going to put in the finances, and he's going to give you a spectrum of potential results for you to consider your decision with as well. So I think that's pretty cool. And he's working amazing projects in singles, doubles, triples and quad ingredients, I believe, as well. So go check out ReaganRenee.com when you're searching for your next ball python. Keeper Kane is a channel here on YouTube. That is Kane and Michelle Fritz Wallace. They're down in Tennessee. And the Keeper Kane channel is all about their animal adventures at their house and their home in Tennessee. They keep ball pythons, they keep big snakes, they keep arachnids, aquatics, and they just finished up their new rodent facility on their property as well. All of it's documented there. All of it is safe for family viewing, all of that kind of stuff. So you can watch their content with your family anytime, safe for family viewing. So go check out Keeper Kane channel here on YouTube. And you've probably, if you're in any group chats or Patreons, you've probably come across Kane. He's pretty enthusiastic about the animals. And now you can get the video and the face with the name and the content as well. So go check out Keeper Kane. Last but not least is Phenome. That is what started as shedtesting.com with Charlie Williams, who is still overseeing the ball python shed testing components. You're still going to get the same great service, commitment to quality, commitment to science, commitment to speedy results and fair prices. All of that is now on phenome.com. Phenome is a reptile genetics company. They just released the rainbow test for ball pythons. They released a hognose sex test, and they released a blue tongue skink sex test as well. If you go to phenome.com, you can see all of the tests that they offer, all the genetics testing that they offer. So go check out phenome.com. Thank you all for hanging out with me, especially on these solo episodes. I have a good time with them. I like interacting with you guys. I feel like I get to have a conversation with you all, and I enjoy the interaction immensely. Next week, I am working on getting Matt Miller from Eternal Morphs. He inquired about doing the hybrids segment with me, and I would love to have somebody who's working with hybrids to do the hybrid segment with me. So I said, you know what? How about I put that off this week? Let's do it next week. I think there's a time differential in the Philippines. I did not hear back from him at that point in the conversation. We had been conversing, and then I think the day got late. So anyway, hopefully Matt Miller from Eternal Morphs will be here next week. If not, he will be here soon. I also got to give a big shout out and thanks to Palm Street, bringing all proper Royals live content to you ad-free. You didn't have to see an ad to join tonight. You didn't have to see an ad if you're watching on the replay whatsoever, and there's no interruptions from ads. So thank you to Palm Street, great live selling platform that welcomes reptile sales, particularly ball pythons. You can apply to sell on Palm Street. If you think live selling is for you, go check it out. Right there in the description, the link is right there. You can just click on it. So if you didn't get to see the new intro at the beginning, go back and watch it. Not right now. Actually, I'll play it at the end too. I'm going to use it as the outro as well. It is a draft. I still have a couple more special guests to include their vocals on. I'm re-recording a couple of their vocals because I couldn't get a clean cut from them in the episode. So they're sending their stuff to me. And I think it's just a cool new intro. I spent a lot of time editing this week, and I had a good time with it. So I hope you enjoy it. Around the house and around people that know me, people will hear me probably mutter or mumble sometimes. Something to the effect of, sometimes you just gotta cut the onions. And I've discovered that I say it so often that people have now started saying it to me sometimes when I complain, and they say, sometimes you just got to cut the onions. Here's the story, and here's why I think it's valuable, and I hope it's not a lecture, because it's a fun thing that reminds me and brings me joy from my career, and it's something I tell my son now, especially when he is scraping rodent poo with me on the weekends, coming to work with me. So I was 16 when I started at Ruby Tuesday, and I was washing dishes, and they were pretty good to me as far as the pay. Believe it or not, that was in a time and era when the minimum wage in Jacksonville, Florida was $3.25 an hour. So while my friends were bagging groceries for $3.25, I was drenched in a dish pit in Ruby Tuesday in Jacksonville Beach, but they were paying me $5.50 an hour. Man, $2.25 more an hour than my sucker friends were making at the Winn-Dixie or the Publix or whatever it was in those days. What I discovered, though, was the dishwasher was the first person to always get cut or to be told to go home, because most of the other employees in the kitchen were cooks that had apartments or car payments or student loans and I was seen as just a kid working for spending money. So in a restaurant, when things slow down, you get what's called cut. You're cut, you go home. Generally, there's not an agreed upon out time. There's just a shift that you work, and you're usually to volume, or you're a closer. If you're a closer, you work till the end of the night. If you're not a closer, you get cut when it slows down. I would always get cut. And I was like, man, this is cutting into my money. I want some money, but I didn't have any skills. Like Napoleon Dynamite. I needed skills, man. I got nothing. So I was washing dishes. And what I noticed, though, after a few weeks was the kitchen manager was always annoyed because none of the prep crew would want to cut the onions. And when I say cut the onions, we had these things called onion straws. And one single batch of onion straws was a 50-pound bag that you had to slice paper thin. And you can imagine, from cutting one onion that makes you cry, imagine cutting 50 pounds of onions, paper thin, on a slicer. And then you have to clean the slicer and blah, blah, blah. And people would always complain about doing it. So one day I strategically, right about the time I thought that the guy was going to tell me I was cut, I went up to him and I said, "Can I do the onions today?" And he looked at me like I had a third head. He said, "Excuse me?" I said, "Can I do the onions?" He said, "Yeah, sure. Go do the onions." 16-year-olds weren't supposed to be on the slicer, but they wanted somebody to do the onions. So I did the onions. And I realized I didn't get cut. It was a day shift. They kept me from 8 in the morning till 4 p.m. I got to work an 8-hour shift because they had cut everybody else that didn't want to cut the onions. And when they were like, "Why am I getting cut?" They're like, "Well, Adam's doing the onions. You're going to do the onions?" They're like, "No, I'll be cut." I got a raise from cutting the onions, and I learned some valuable lessons. One, to this day, I believe in doing the work that nobody else will do. I'm not saying I'm getting rich on the car wash. Now, if this guy buys it, I might do okay on the deal. We'll see. But even at the car wash, there is these drain ditches that you have to dig out by hand. It's disgusting work. It's backbreaking work. It sucks. Those ditches are 2 feet deep. Imagine digging out 2 feet of car wash mud, which I have to do. And I do it because to get it pumped out is $600 to have the guy come out. That at $1.50 a car wash, that is 900 car washes I would have to do to pay the guy to come do it. So I do it myself. When I worked in the restaurant, bussing tables, washing dishes, do the work nobody else will do. And A, you'll always have a job. But B, here's what it taught me. It showed my colleagues who I was. It built my reputation as a hard worker and a reliable guy and a down-to-earth person that people would want to work around. Secondly, it made me more money. I literally made more money before I got a raise. I got more hours. Then they gave me a raise, and then they gave me opportunity because they said, if this guy will step up and cut onions, be reliable cutting onions, and still does it even after we give him a raise, whoa, we need a new cook. Instead of hiring somebody, why don't we train this kid Adam over here? I started to get opportunities for it. And to this day, I find that I get opportunities. Just shoveling those ditches at the car wash leads me to be talking to people because they'll pull up and want to wash their car. And I have to explain to them, it's not open at the moment, but as soon as I get done digging this ditch, it'll be open. And that has led to conversations like, "Are you the owner?" And I say, "Yeah." And they go, "You dig your own ditches there, or your drains?" I say, "Yeah." And like, I almost become like, if it's a farmer who suddenly respects me and I'm not just some dude that owns the car wash and doesn't do any work. It's got this blue collar appeal to it, and it makes me approachable to talk to other people. And I wasn't digging the ditches, but I was doing dirty work when I met the guy that I do business with now that maybe is interested in buying the car wash. So the other part of this is that I hate complaining. I don't like complaining myself because it doesn't change anything. And I can't stand listening to other people. Oh, what is worse than hearing other people complain? Now, sometimes you got to vent. I get it. But once you're done venting, you got to get on to what difference things are going to make. It doesn't do any good to stay stuck in that situation of complaining. So I say to myself, and I say to my son when he goes, I don't like this subject in school. You can't change it. You're going to drop out in 8th grade. You're not going to do that. I'm not going to let you do that. It's not legal. You can't quit. You got to do it. Just go ahead and do it. Just don't complain. Just cut the onions, get through it. And the faster you get done with it, the faster you can move on and not have to deal with it anymore. So I encourage you to just go cut the onions sometimes. You got to do the dirty work. You got to get above it there, get ahead of it. So, Mission Morphs is exactly right. You'll get the things that the others can't get. While the other people are busy complaining, wondering why their life doesn't get better, you've gone, all right, this sucks. I'm going to go get it done. And you get it done, and you get a paycheck, or you get an opportunity, or you get an afternoon to yourself that you're not spending complaining. You're happier that it's done, right? You just go get it done. I was never in the military, but I hear veterans say that there's an expression. I don't know if it's in a particular branch or just in general, but they say you have to embrace the suck. Sometimes things just suck. We're not owed any different. If you could change your circumstance to where things suck less, go do that. But if you can't, just do it. Just get it done. Man, I really, one of my favorite people that I've met and have a really good relationship is Justin at Pressure Pythons. Justin pressure washes for a living. And I don't want to speak about him. He could speak to himself. But when I say he pressure washes, yeah, he does kind of the typical stuff. He helped me when I was selling my house, wash the house, wash the driveway. What I didn't know is if he gets corporate contracts, and I won't talk any finances, but they were eye-opening to me. He gets corporate contracts for parking garages, high-rise buildings downtown. Like, you could take the mundane stuff that nobody wants to do and turn that into an enterprise. Look at waste management. Nobody wanted to collect the trash. Some guy said, I'll collect the trash, and then I'll collect more trash. Oh, people will pay me to collect trash. A lot of it, I'll buy a truck and collect trash. You see what I'm saying? Like, go do it. That's where there's this great opportunity out there. And in my opinion, that stuff is AI proof too. How about that? There you go, man. Justin, sorry, I hope I didn't speak out of turn there, man, but I've always been impressed, and I love your business acumen and how you approach business. So I appreciate it. Yeah, you got to just get the job done at the aquarium. That's cool, Aurora. That's exactly right. Yeah, do this. Like, okay, how are you going to get from, I don't know where you worked previously, but front door to actually working with the animals? Yeah, take the cleaning job. Do it. Find any way in the door you can. I love that stuff, man. I love that. I love it. Pressure washing locker rooms. That's cutting the onions. I'm telling you, good stuff is going to come from that. I believe it wholeheartedly. All right, guys, that's what I got for you this week. Thanks for hanging out. I intend to have Matt Miller from Eternal Morphs next week. If not, who knows who I'll have join me. I'll be here same time, same place. And please let me know what you think of the new intro. I'm going to play it again. It's a little loud. I got to get this sound adjusted, so maybe turn it down just a click. Thanks very much. I appreciate you all for the support, the interaction, the camaraderie. I'm thankful to be able to surround myself with people like you all. See you next week. Cheers, everybody. Thanks. Bye.
Everybody wants the outcome. Very few will go through the process.
When you think about someone living their dream, I am living my dream.
Your business model isn't working. You've got to change your model.
You might be all by yourself on that route, but the view's pretty damn good from there.
Stop chasing other people's dreams. Make your own.
When the going gets weird, the weird turn pro.